Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is our first class. I think you're so excited. I'm really excited. So let's get started. It's time for English. In our first class, we are going to discuss about the origin or the history of English. We are not directly going to the grammar or whatever else. When we are going to learn something, we should learn it in a systematic way and order. So, let's get started with the history of English. Now, some of you have a doubt that why we have to study the history of English, isn't it? I can give you the answer. Not only English, if you are studying any language, the historical study of that language has a great importance. We all know that in this world there are a large number of languages. Each community, clans or region has its own language because it's a fact that language is a medium of communication. English is one among 3,000 languages now spoken in the world which are historically developed, socially learned, orally transmitted system of communication. In the structural study of language, the historical study is called synchronic linguistics. We all know that language is a system of communication, but we should remember a fact. Language has been changing through time and still continuing the change through use. The words, grammars, pronunciations, etc. that we are using now are not the same in the past. The word changes and the change is continuing. Synchronic linguistics says that language is evolutionary. There is another kind of language study called diachronic linguistics. It involves the historical study of languages. When we study the history of language, we can obtain a full understanding of a language. When we are studying an artificial language, historical study is not necessary. But when studying a natural language, it is necessary. It is because the rules of an artificial language are laid down before the language begins to be used. But the rules of a natural language are evolved after using the language. We all study the history of our nation, isn't it? It helps us to understand our nation. If we want to study the history of a society fully, we want to study the history of language by which the people of that society used to communicate. On the other hand, in the study of the history of a language, the history of the society in which that language was developed is to be studied. The historical study of language enables a man to read and understand properly the written records of his national history and civilization. Historical study of language helps a man to know that the rules of language are not fixed. The things which are considered wrong in the present were not so in the past. And similarly, many usages considered wrong in the past has now become accepted as right. The historical study of language leads us to a clear understanding how the grammatical rules were replaced by others. I think that now you get why we study the history of languages. In simple words, historical study of language helps us to fully understand the language and the changes occurred in the language. Points to remember. I hope you enjoyed the class. See you in the next class. Please like, share and subscribe my channel.